Hello. Usually when I start recording this video, I have a song ready for you. Today though, I've had a couple people, despite the low number of subscribers that I have, I've had some people ask how I'm making the sounds that I'm making on this synth. And to be honest, the synth does most of the work, but I do have to turn a bunch of knobs to get there. So I'm going to kind of go through my process of making one of these weird sounds that I use for these soundscape things. I don't know what to call them. Soundtracks, soundscapes, atmospheric things. I don't know, they're quite random. So I'm not really sure where we're gonna end up today, but I'm gonna go through the normal process and I'm gonna try to keep it quick. So I'm gonna move the camera over here now, pop my headphones on, get to work, and describe what I'm doing along the way. We'll start with an init patch and hopefully build up to something cool. Okay, here we are. I am going to start trying to make a type of typical sound that I might make for a soundscape. It'll be weird, slightly out of tune probably. Gonna have multiple oscillators, do some stuff with the mod wheel over here, all the while trying to stay out of the way of the camera because I'm standing right in front of it so I can try to show you what I'm doing. So it's a little bit annoying for both of us, don't worry. I'm gonna start my stopwatch too so that I don't make this video an hour long. So first thing we're gonna do is reset to an init patch. This gives us just a basic sawtooth. And I like to soften that up a little bit. It starts a little hard. There we go. So I'm turning the wave angle to do that. And I'm gonna drop it down as well. So now we've got nice low, soft sawtooth. Now the init patch on this synth actually adds some modulation with the mod wheel. And I'm gonna remove that. So I'm gonna press the mod button and delete. So now we have no modulation, which is what I like to start with. Okay, what do we do now? Usually I just start cranking up the effects to go with. I like to make the patch with effects because it has such a drastic effect on the sound that sometimes I don't need to do a lot with the synth. I can just add a little bit of the nice effects that are on here, change the tuning of some of the oscillators a little bit, add a little bit of modulation with the pitch again, and then I'm done. So let's throw the effects on here. This synth has effects on both the master bus and individually on each synth. So we're on synth number 1. I'm gonna stick an effect just on the master bus. I'm gonna go with one of the Eventide shimmer presets. Ooh, heard that come in. That sounded pretty good. And it's at 100% now. I'm gonna crank it down to like 80-ish. And let's see what that sounds like. Ooh. This is just the init patch. It sounds so good. Love it. Okay. So that's why I like to throw the effects on. I already feel good about it. We could just leave it as is, right? So let's throw on one more effect onto this synth. I like to spread it out and make it a little bit more stereo. And the effects are built into this synth, but you don't need to use a synth with effects built in, obviously. All these effects you can throw into your DAW and apply them in real time as well, which is what I used to do before I got this. So I'm only using the effects on here because it's convenient. So let's put on a stereo delay. And okay, so we got that nice stereo delay going, and I'm going to sync it with our tempo as well, which is important. So the tempo knob's over here. This will make it so that when we increase the tempo, the delay bounces back and forth to match the tempo. You hear how slow that is? So I just slowed it down to 50 BPM. Quite a bit slower. I'm gonna crank this up a little bit. Let's do something like 40% or so. And then I'm gonna put our tempo up to like 60 BPM. little lower. Okay, that sounds good to me. Nice. Okay, it's still a little too hot. Let's move that down. Let's go 30%. And tempo up. Okay. Okay, that sounds awesome. All right, let's bring in the second oscillator now. So to do that on this synth, I just need to run it through one of our filters. So I'm gonna run it through the ladder filter, and now we should hear a second oscillator. There it is. I don't want it to be perfectly in tune. So I'm gonna go to my tuning here. I'm gonna adjust my frequency knob, and I'm gonna tune it up. I like to do sometimes I'll do just like one step. Which sounds kind of aggressive, right? It's like I'm pressing C and C sharp at the same time. So it sounds kind of terrible, but kind of great at the same time, in my opinion. But I'm gonna actually move it up to a third. Yeah, but not exactly a third. I'm like a third and a little bit. So it's still a little bit out of tune. It sounds nice. Okay, great. So we've got that going, we've got this going. Now I'm gonna introduce the mod wheel. So I don't always want this second oscillator to be in here. I do this frequently so that I could make like a 4-minute song with one patch. I do lots of weird modulations with the mod wheel and with aftertouch. So with the mod wheel, I'm gonna use that to bring in the volume of oscillator 2. So this is with oscillator 2 turned up. I'm going to now take oscillator 2 and turn it down. So now it has gone away. I'm going to crank the mod wheel up, and then I'm going to come down here to this expression assign panel, and this is how you can easily create modulations. So I'm going to press the mod wheel. Now it's waiting for me to do something, and it'll assign that to the mod wheel. So I'm going to turn the oscillator to volume. And you may be able to see it on the screen, maybe not. But there's a little line moving now. So now I'm adjusting the volume of oscillator 2 when the mod wheel is at its max. So something like that sounds pretty good to me. So now if I move the mod wheel down, it should go away. So now we have no second oscillator, and then I can bring the mod wheel in, which brings in that second oscillator. Now I'm also going to soften that sound up a little bit too. So again, I'm just doing that with the wave angle. By default, it has this sawtooth is leaning all the way to the left. I'm gonna push it more towards the center. Something like that. Now it sounds a little quieter, so I'm gonna go in and adjust our volume with the mod wheel. Okay, that sounds good to me. Great. So I'm gonna leave the mod wheel up for now, and let's continue messing around. Next, what would be a good thing to apply next? Let's make it kind of wavy and out of tune when I hold down with aftertouch. This will make it kind of slowly go out of pitch and slowly come back into pitch. And I'm gonna do this with both oscillators. Just everything is gonna go slowly up and down, and I'm gonna use the built-in pitch modulation for that. So let's press the aftertouch button, and then I'm going to turn the pitch modulation knob, and then I'm going to hold down and activate aftertouch so I can hear what it's doing. And now I'm gonna slow down that LFO a little bit. And Okay, so now we have something that sounds okay. And then if we hold down aftertouch, I'm pressing the shift key here. This is gonna give me a little bit more fine control because it's still doing too much pitch stuff. So I'm trying to make it a little less pitchy. Okay, that sounds fine. Let's keep rolling with that. See what we got here. Okay, something else I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go ahead and activate mono because it sounds horrible if I press multiple keys at the same time anyway, so let's turn on mono. So now we can't play chords anymore. And then while I'm over here in this section, I'm gonna mess with unison too, because sometimes that sounds fun. Unison just adds additional copies of the note that we're playing. So it's gonna get a little bit louder because we're gonna have multiple notes playing at the same time, but you can also slightly detune each of those individual copies. So I'm gonna do a unison of 4, and I'm gonna start with it not detuned, and then slowly slide it up and see what happens. Cool, that sounds good. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna do is come up here to the filter. I'm gonna adjust it. By default, it's completely open. I'm gonna start sliding it down a little bit. Somewhere around there. And then let's add some noise as well. And I'm gonna put the noise on the mod wheel so that as we slide the mod wheel up, we add more noise. The noise, excuse me, I'm gonna put on the other filter. So this has 2 filters. It's got a ladder filter and a state variable filter. I'm gonna put the noise on the state variable filter so that I can control the cutoff for that separately. And then I'm gonna use a little mixing knob here to move it about 50% on the 2 filters. So as you can hear, it's pretty intense right now. But that's what the filter's for. And it's kind of sounding like wind, which is interesting. I like it though. Okay, cool. So now we'll stick that on the mod wheel as well. I'm gonna just turn the noise all the way down. I'm gonna press the mod wheel. I'm going to turn the noise up again. And now the noise is assigned to the mod wheel. I'm just gonna adjust the volume on it now. Okay, so now the noise should go away as we move our mod wheel down. There we go. So now we're back to 1 oscillator. And now we can introduce the second oscillator and noise at the same time. Okay, cool. I think we're almost at a spot where we can record something. What are we in? 15 minutes in? Okay, great. I don't know if the video's been 15 minutes. I probably edited something out, I'm sure of it, but maybe not. We're gonna add this third oscillator in now, and it's gonna be real quiet, but I'm gonna make it really high. I'm gonna tune this one down. I tuned the second oscillator up a third. Remember, I'm gonna tune the third oscillator down at some amounts. I don't know what that's gonna be. Let's play with it and see what it sounds like. Okay, I'm gonna do just a single step. Very tense, very tense. And let's play with the angle on this a little bit as well. So all of our angles, we've slid all the way to the right so that they don't have, there's not a lot of crispiness is the only way I know how to describe it. I think that crispiness is like other frequencies. So if I move this over to the left, if I move the wave angle to the left, you feel how much more crispy it gets. I don't really know what's happening, but I think there's other frequencies being introduced when I do that. And if I move it to the right, we have less high frequencies in there. Right, so all of our wave angles are fully to the right now. I'm gonna actually move our bottom, our oscillator 1, back to the left and see what that sounds like, so that we have like some crispiness in the bass, but then it's soft up top, if that makes any sense. Yeah, perfect. Okay, let's bring our oscillator 3 down in volume. Okay, I just moved it down to a 5th. I like that. Cool. All right, I think we're getting somewhere. Okay, so I think we're at an okay spot now, and we've got a bunch of stuff we can mess with. We've got the mod wheel that brings in noise, and it brings in the second oscillator. We've got aftertouch that adds the slow detuning with the LFO. And we've got a couple filters that we're running some stuff through. So we have the noise on its own filter. And we've got the oscillators on the other filter. And what else do we have? Right, and then we also have the wave angles that we can play with. So now, if we come in here and do some, record a sequence, for example, using a sequencer, or you could, a strategy I use before having a sequencer is I could record something as MIDI onto my computer and then play the MIDI back into the synth. And as it plays, you could start messing with those different variables. So we can make the noise sound like wind. We can bring the mod wheel up and down. We can play with the wave angles. and you're just applying it in real time as your computer is playing back your synth. In this case, we don't need to use a computer because we have a built-in sequencer. But if you don't, that's one way to do it. So let's record something. I'm thinking maybe we'll just record what we were playing earlier. We'll play, what were we playing? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so to record on this sequencer, I actually don't use it that much. I prefer to use MIDI, but let's try it. There's a record button. I'm pretty sure I can just play something and it'll record each key individually. No promises though, but we're gonna try it. So I've hit record. Okay, so I'm done recording. I'm gonna go back to the beginning and hit play and let's see what happens. I hear nothing. All right, there's an on button. There we go. Okay, I can hear our tempo's a little low. I just hit a key, so that transposed it, I guess. Okay, let's go back to where we were at. Now I'm gonna mess with the tempo a little bit, see if I can find a good tempo that I like. Playing with the effects right now, just kind of dialing them in with this tempo here. Now I'm going to play with the unison. Oh, it's starting to sound good. Okay, so now we can mess with some of those variables I was talking about. Sorry, I'm yelling because my headphones are so loud. I think at this point, usually I probably start recording and I would play with some of these variables in here to start making it sound like it's progressing into something. So I'm gonna mess with some of the stuff we talked about earlier, just make it sound interesting. And then after that, I might stop messing with stuff and see if I could play some kind of melody on top, and then I'll be done. So, thank you. bring in some wind. Wave angle. Cutoff. Bringing down the wave angle of the second oscillator and also turning up the second oscillator. Let's bring in the third oscillator and also bring its wave angle down as well, and then we'll play with the filter one more time. Fade it out just to the noise and see what that sounds like. Okay, well that was something. Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, that's the gist. I will do multiple layers sometimes. With something like that, I'd probably want to do a melody. So, you know, to quickly demonstrate that, very quickly demonstrate what that would look like in 30 seconds or so, let's turn our sound back up here. Okay, so we've got some audio back. What I would do if I was to add an additional layer is I would use one of these other synths. So everything we just did is in one synth. This Moog 1 actually has 3 individual synths. So if I press this synth 2, I now have a whole new init patch. If I turn the volume up on it. There we go. So now I'm on synth 2. It's a whole new init patch here, and I could play this at the same time as synth 1. So actually, if I go onto synth 1 and I hit play for that sequence we just made, I can go over to synth 2 and play something on top of it. Okay, well, that was fun. I'm actually recording this outro first, so I have no idea what we made, but hopefully it was good. If there was something I didn't explain well enough or something that seemed strange and there's a way I can do it better, please let me know or send me a comment or question or something. And if I do another one of these videos again, hopefully I can roll that in for next time. All right, thanks for watching, I appreciate it. And hopefully I'll have a song for you next time. Bye.